We begin our meeting today, as we always do, with a song and Pledge of Allegiance. And to lead us in those two items, please welcome once again to our stage here today at the Wyndham Garden Hotel, Pete Enwall.
And Robert Mounts, I got permission from Dr. Fauci to take my mask off. So to do this, you might prefer that I keep it on while I tell the joke, but I'm sorry, that's the way it's going to go. My daughter went to a garage sale and bought a used watch, and she showed it to me, and I said, "Well, does it tell you the time?" And she looked at me and she said, "No, Dad, you have to look at the watch." Okay, we're gonna. My country, 'tis of thee. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pete. For our invocation today, I hope you got the instant message via our chat. We give you Kevin Thorpe. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, everyone. May we pray. Lord, we are so grateful for this day. It is a day that we have never seen before, and when it is past, we will never see again. Continue to bless this great organization. Pour your spirit upon today's presentation. Allow it to strengthen us mentally and spiritually. Continue to bless the food that we are partaking. It is for your sake and for your glory we pray. Amen.
And we're going to bring Eric Spivey up too to add to that invocation. Yes, he made the trip here today. As we balance being online and being in person, we have a great crowd here today at the Wyndham Garden Hotel. So Eric, come on up and add to what Kevin has offered to us.
Well, obviously, when we're in a hybrid mode, you need a virtual prayer and a real prayer for both of us on both sides. So let's do both, okay? All right, let's pray together. So Lord, in these challenging days of not able to see each other, but besides our eyes, we pray that you will give us patience with one another. Lord, in these days when everything sometimes seems to be out of control and we don't know what to do, may you give us grace for one another. And oh Lord, as we do the work that you have given us as Rotary, may you give us the courage and the strength to step forward for the good of our community and the good of our club. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Kevin, both. We might have to have two invocations every meeting. That was very nice.
We can do an opening and closing.
Don Bugos has the wireless microphone. He is out in the crowd. If you are a Rotarian who has brought a guest with you today, I would like for you to please stand and have Don bring you the microphone to introduce your guest.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce my brother, Hugh, who's joining us today.
Do we have any visiting Rotarians here today with us at the hotel? Okay. Seeing none. Any announcements, President?
Yes. No announcements.
No announcements today. So we'll move on to remarks from our president, Matthew Brady.
Thank you. So, Joe, I'm trying to call it. You know, if you're out there, we are adapting and adjusting. We have some great technology. We have some great individuals, but you know, not everything's going perfect. Joe, I know this is going to sound silly, but am I still muted? Because you're
No,
not
sir,
going to
we can
hear
hear
me if I'm muted. Are we go or down? Good. Thank you very much. I had an old chat. So, like I said in the email this week, I'm not up here playing on the phone. I'm trying to see what's going on, see who's on virtual, and trying to juggle all these things. And I'll admit that I'm a little bit out of my expertise in balancing those things. But I do appreciate all that has contributed thus far. So we'll continue to work that out. And, Eric, with the mask, we just, I saw you, but I forgot to pass that on. So thank you also, Kevin, for not only being back joining our club, but jumping in right away, week one. Hugh drove over to join us today, and Hugh, over the past several years, has come over and been a huge contributor to Seafood and Wild Game Feast, and it's always great to see you, sir. Very good. Article today. If you looked at Facebook, there's an article, Africa declared free of wild polio in a milestone achievement, and that was announced today. So look at that Facebook link. Yes, round of applause. That's still a huge mission, and there's still work to be done and still achievements being made. Now, on the other end, from a celebration, for those that do not know, and we've already reached out as a club, but, Jerry Painter lost his father last Thursday. And, Jerry's had a tough year. He lost his mother 2 months ago, and some different things. So if you get that opportunity to reach out individually, we have as a club. His spirits are high. He knows he's had a great time with his father and his mother, but do reach out in the family of Rotary, because we all are family. And Zakia, there you go. I am going to ask. You're not going to get to see her beautiful smiling face because she's got a mask on. But she is the president of the Gainesville Rotaract Club. And it's smaller in size if you compare ours, but they do some amazing things. And I've talked about that previously. But for 2019-2020, they received not only the Rotary citation, but just like everything else they do, they went the extra mile and added to that in accomplishments for a silver distinction. And so I wanted to present that certificate to her today to take back to our Rotaract Club. I was able to, I think I said this earlier, but I spoke with the group about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they are an awesome group and been doing some awesome things. So thank you all for the good work. And so with that said, and nothing more, I am going to ask Mr. Tom Collette to come back to the podium and introduce today's speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. It's kind of cool when you get to work with someone and you get to introduce them to an audience like this, at a meeting like this. Our speaker today is an Indiana native. Of course, Indiana, one of the hotbeds of basketball. He spent nearly 20 years of experience in coaching, both at the women's and men's basketball at the Division I level. Before being named the 10th head coach in Florida women's basketball history in 2017, he spent 4 seasons at Belmont University, taking the Bruins to new heights with back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances and a 51-15 record over his final 2 seasons in Nashville. Just last season, he led the Florida Gator women's basketball team to a 7-win turnaround and guided them to their first 500 finish in 4 years. His club made tremendous strides in 2019-2020, despite losing its top 3 scorers from the previous season. They posted 15 wins and doubled its SEC victory total with 6. And along the way, they collected multiple top 25 wins for the first time since 15-16, posting a huge win at number 13 Kentucky. That's no easy task. And then follow that up with an 83-80 victory over number 22 Arkansas here at Exact Tech Arena. at the Stephen C. O'Connell Center. He is a man of faith, family, and community. He and his staff have made a commitment to giving back as well as holding the Gators to a high standard in academics. He is married to the former Sarah Millender. That happened in May of 2011, and they have 3 beautiful young girls, Chloe, Millie, and the newest addition to their family, Charlie Jean, who was born in February of 2019. As I said, I've had the chance to work with him. I've seen up close the work he's done with his Florida women's basketball program, and it's an honor to introduce him today. Please welcome virtually Cam Newbauer.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I gotta apologize. It's kind of loud out here where I am. I'm at the beach a little bit, just hanging out. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but just sitting here kicking back at the palm trees. You know? No, I'm just, guys, I'm kidding. I'm just sitting here in my office. But figure with the Zoom, I mean, you might as well do some virtual fun stuff, right? Could you guys see the waves going and all that? But thanks for having me on. I really, really appreciate this opportunity. And that's just kind of my personality. You're going to get hopefully some laughs today. And I am going to start with the joke that I think's better than the one we just heard. So I hope no one's offended at all. But if you like jokes, this is one of my favorite ones. And I tell tons of recruits this. So during COVID, true story, my 1-year-old and I would walk a lot. And what we would do is we would just get out in the stroller and start walking. And one day, literally, we walked 25 miles. And my wife would be with our 4-year-old and 6-year-old and teach them school. And so one day I'm walking and I look over to the side of the street, and you all know how Charmin toilet paper became like gold, right? Well, all of a sudden I look and there's one little square of Charmin on the side of the road. And this guy's trying to cross the road. It was unbelievable. The piece of toilet paper was trying to cross the road. And you guys know why it couldn't cross the road? It was the craziest thing. That piece of toilet paper got stuck in a crack. Come on. Some of you guys aren't even smiling. Seriously. That was pretty good? Bad. All right. Well, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit today about my journey and the part that the Rotary Club and all these Gainesvillians play and what's next for our journey as a program here, because I'm a person that believes in living and chasing dreams, because I'm living multiple dreams right now. One, I'm married to an amazing woman and I have 3 beautiful daughters, which is just a blessing beyond belief. And, you know, Tom said their names, Chloe, Millie, and Charlie, there they are. And so I just couldn't be more blessed to have such an amazing family. And then another dream that I got to live recently is during COVID, I've never in my life had a beard. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to try to grow a beard. And without COVID, I would have not got to do so. So here's what I normally look like, okay? That's what I normally look like, right? Then during COVID, I decided that I'm not going to shave and just kind of go crazy. And here is what I looked like last week. So yeah. And then all of a sudden, my wife proceeded to tell me that she was not kissing me for the last month because my mustache hairs were going in her nose. So yeah, so I got a haircut the other day, got it trimmed it a little bit. I'm trying, I don't know if it's a good look or not. It's something different, never done the comb over, but COVID did give me that dream opportunity to grow a beard. COVID also blessed me with amazing time with my wife and kids. Normally during a lot of those months, I'm gone recruiting for extended periods of time. In July, I'm normally gone 15 to 18 days recruiting. And in March, I'm gone a lot too, as April. And so I got to spend some amazing time with my children. And I hope that all of us got to have some time to pause and reflect and slow down and maybe appreciate some of the finer things that we take for granted. I hope we're all doing our best jobs to stay safe and healthy and social distance and protect each other, because these times are so crazy that we're in. But I do thank God for some of these moments, because I would not have been able to have some of the soul time for myself to really reflect on how important my family is to me and the opportunity that I have. And, you know, it's funny where my journey began, because I had no idea what it took to become a coach at this level. And all of you in this room, you know that the University of Florida is a big deal. The #7 public institution in the nation, one of the best, most revered athletic departments in the country that wins national championships in every sport at such a high level. And I had a dream when I was in high school that I wanted to play in the NBA one day, play pro basketball. And I learned rather quickly that that dream was not going to come to fruition. And so I wanted to get into college coaching. And when I was student teaching, I decided to send out letters to about 30 coaching staffs. And in these letters, I literally said that I would do everything I could to be part of a program, including scrubbing toilets. And I didn't realize what that really would entail. And so I get a phone call from a guy named Rob Lanier. Rob Lanier was actually on Billy Donovan's staff here a handful of years ago. And Rob Lanier had just been named the head coach at Siena College in Albany, New York. And out of nowhere, Rob got my letter and calls me and says, hey, man, I'm creating this position, would love to interview you. So my father and I drove 12 hours out the next weekend to Albany, New York. I interviewed for the job. A week later, he offered me the job with one stipulation: you're not getting paid. It's an unpaid director of basketball operations position. You will get a meal plan from the dining hall. I had no idea what I was doing at the time. I was 23 years old, and I thought it was the most genius idea ever. And I couldn't figure out at the time why my mother and father, stepmom, stepdad, nobody was supporting this decision. Nobody was supporting moving 12 hours away to upstate New York to work for free. But I had this vision and this dream in my heart that it's what I needed to do to pursue what I didn't know this could become, dream of coaching college basketball. Then to make things even crazier, our first year we make the NCAA tournament. We play in the playing game in Dayton, which is 2.5 hours from my house. All my family members come to the game, of course. We're on ESPN. We win. We go to the first round of the NCAA tournament. And all of a sudden, all my family are on board to my dream that I'm trying to chase when I'm 24 years old. So then my second year at Siena, to make ends meet, this is one of the craziest, most ridiculous things I've ever done in my life. I was 24 years old, and to make ends meet that year, I lived with a 63-year-old woman. I had a bedroom and a bathroom in her house, and this woman was kind enough to find it in her heart to help me out to make ends meet and basically give me a room and bathroom for nothing. But looking back at 42 now, it's kind of like, wow, a 24-year-old guy, like, that's just kind of different, right? And I had no idea, but thank God for her for blessing me and giving me that opportunity to help me, because through the sacrifice those first couple of years, what happened with my network and people I got to meet and how doors opened through the grace of God blessed me to take this crazy jersey. And I get hooked up with USA Basketball for a month after my 2 years at Siena. I meet the newly hired men's coach at Georgia at the time, spend a month over in Greece with the USA Basketball team, and I get offered a job on the men's staff at Georgia. I go there. I'm there for 3 years. Then I join the women's staff at Georgia with the Hall of Famer. Next thing I know, I leave Georgia and I go to Louisville. And I'm sorry if anybody here's from up there, Louisville. I go to Louisville, and I'm there for a year. And the year I'm there, we go to the national championship game and play UConn. And then all of a sudden, I have an opportunity to become a head coach at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's while I was at Belmont where I learned the power of vision. And I created this vision with my staff and with people that we were recruiting that there's no other way to explain it that other than we created a vision so powerful that it had to become a reality. And that's what happened. It was this belief on finding the right people to come together for something greater than themselves, high character people that wanted to do something special as a group. And it happened. And our first 2 years were really tough as we built the foundation, as we got the right people surrounding our young people, as we got the right young people in our program. And it was amazing. And, you know, we coined the phrase, we over me, because we live in such a selfish world, and we had a big we and a little me, M-E, and we put this all over the place, and we talked about it, and we stressed how when you're in your personal bad spots or personal hells, when you're frustrated and you're down, the best thing you can do to get yourself out of it is you can focus on other people. You can focus on teammates. You can encourage teammates. You can lift them up. And what you find is that when you focus on encouraging others, that you in turn are hearing the words you're speaking to others that you need to hear that are going to bring you out of that. And if everybody can do that, then who knows what the heck can happen to us. And that's just a phrase that I brought with us from Belmont. And next thing you know, we have some great success at Belmont. And another piece of advice that Rob Lanier taught me in my first job at Siena was that every day is an interview. Every single day, somebody is watching you. Somebody is interviewing you for that next position, that next opportunity, and they're watching how you handle every situation. And it's really not a formal interview, but it's probably the most important interviews you ever go through. And so all of a sudden, I finished my 4th year at Belmont. I have a great year. We almost beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament on their home court. And all of a sudden, I get a call from the athletic director at Florida named Scott Strickland. And I'm blown away, like, how in the world does the University of Florida know about me? And like, how can I have an opportunity to go interview there? And what I end up finding out on my interview, because I asked Scott, I said, why me? Why am I here in this interview? And what I found out was the year before, my 3rd year at Belmont, we played in the NCAA tournament at Mississippi State, where Scott was the athletic director. And we were a 13 seed playing the number 4 seed Michigan State. And in women's college basketball, 13 seeds don't play with 4 seeds. Normally it's a blowout. And so Scott told me that he wasn't planning on coming to the game because he thought it wouldn't be much of a game, but he decided to come to halftime. When he got there at halftime, it was a 4-point game and we were down 4. And he decided to sit behind our bench and to watch our team. And he watched the rest of the game and we kept it close till the end. And then he decided to come to my press conference. And it was that date where he watched me and how I handled myself in that one of the best moments of my life, competitive wise, but also one of the lowest moments because we didn't win and it was a sobering moment. But he saw how I coached my team, how I handled the press conference, and just who I was. And so my interview for the University of Florida job actually took place a year earlier in an informal setting. And had I not taken to heart what Coach Lanier had told me about how every moment's an interview, I would have no idea with, just ever thinking about that. And so that has stuck with me for a long time. And next thing I know, I interview here, I get this job, and it's been tough because at Florida, everybody wins championships. And I inherited a program that's never won an SEC championship, let alone a national championship. But the most amazing thing that I've learned from being here is that the vision that I had at Belmont about getting the right people in the right place at the right time is exactly what has made Florida what Florida is. To be revered as an institution and as such an athletics entity is that you've got the right people that support the institution, that support athletics. You got the right coaches with the right athletes that believe in doing something greater than themselves, and they come together. And I can tell you that this does not happen without the community. We beat number 22 Arkansas last year at home with an amazing crowd, and it could not have happened without the community. And it's been through our efforts, I think, with reaching out to you in the community, with going to soup kitchens and homeless shelters and feeding the needy and serving those people that sometimes aren't loved and appreciated and served, and people that don't think they need it or deserve it. It's about going to nursing homes and reaching out to people and connecting and engaging, because I tell our players all the time that people aren't just going to show up and watch us because we're good. We want people to show up and support us because they know who we are and because we want you to be part of this, because this is about the Gainesville community. It's about showing what Florida is to everybody nationally and globally. And it's been amazing to see the scope that this gator head and that this word on my chest means to people. There's a reason why Tim Tebow comes back here so much. There's a reason why Steve Spurrier is in the office at the football stadium almost every day. It's an incredible place to where Olympians come back and they appreciate you, what you've done for this place and the community that you gave them while they were in college, and the memories that last in the formative years of their lives. And that's what you've done. And so that's another reason why it is so near and dear to our program's heart, to connect and engage in the community and to be part of clubs such as the Rotary Club, because we are trying to do what you do. And for us to go to elementary schools and to show young people a model of who they can become and how to be strong women and to have dreams that you can live and chase, you know, that's important in our world today, because a lot of young people, they put so much of their worth anymore into some of the social media things. And, you know, the times we're in right now are tough with the social injustice issues, with the COVID, with so many things that are happening. And so I think it's important that we steward our gifts accordingly and that we give back to communities that we're in, because we are blessed and highly favored. The fact that I get to come to work every day at the University of Florida, the fact that I get paid to coach women's college basketball and get to lead young ladies and get to try to mentor and teach them how to become strong, productive women in society who can be leaders and who can impact change in our world. And for them to see that when we go to elementary schools and when we go throughout the community and do all kinds of different opportunities, it really is neat, because now they realize that their worth in this world does not simply come from dribbling a basketball. Because when people see who they are and they engage and connect with them, now all of a sudden they start to see the impact they can have with people in our community about who they are, not what they do. And I think a lot of us have struggled in our lives, and young people do, with society's scorecard of how do you gain your worth and what is it that you give to our world. And so I challenge our players daily with understanding that who you are is more important than what you do. It just so happens, though, that we've got an amazing platform to where we get a chance to impact lives through a sport. And I appreciate all of you for having me on this call and for what you've done in this community, because there's no way that our players would have the experiences that they have at Florida if it wasn't for the community that's been grown here. And so it's just such a blessing to be part of this. And it's amazing to see how my dreams and visions constantly get shaped and tinkered. But it's so neat to see how the vision that I created at Belmont to build a championship program is exactly what made Florida what it is. And I'm doing my best every day to try to make sure that I can make this place better than I found it. And it's tough, and it's been a hard road to hoe, but I know that with the right people, we're going to continue to move forward. And I know that with your help, with whatever it is, if you see us out in the community and you see our athletes, you know, and just say, hey, how you doing? You know, how's school going? When they're seen by people in the community and know that they can help, it makes a big difference, because they want to make impacts. And just please know that if you've ever got a group that you would like to have me and some players come out to and serve or help, or if you ever want to come to a practice, I know right now it's a little different, but typically our practices are open to anybody that wants to come watch our team practice. We welcome it to anyone. And I know it's strange right now with the social distancing thing and everything. And I actually want to show you a picture of one thing that I've done. You know, we wear masks and everything, but in practice and workouts that we've been having, I want the players to see my facial expressions, because I think body language is such an important part of this. And I think they need to see your smile, and they need to see how you react to what they're doing when they have success and failure in workouts. So here's one thing that I found out football was doing, Coach Mullen, is that they wear, instead of wearing masks, they wear these face shields. And so I don't know if you can see me here, but I got a face shield on there to where now the players can actually see my body language and facial expressions more. So I try to make it a point to where I'm smiling more and giving them encouraging words. And I just thought about that to where I think that's a huge thing, because your smile in the community, when you see people, I mean, it uplifts people. When you use someone's name at a restaurant or your clerk at Publix, look at the smile it creates. And so I want to continue to challenge you guys as the Rotary Club of Gainesville to be the beacon of light in such tough times right now, because the social injustice things that are happening, we all play a role in that. Whether we have the facts as to what's happening or not, we can all be better humanitarians. We can care for others better. We can love other people's better. We can serve other people better without judgment. And that's something that I'm trying to teach to our players and my daughters every single day is who I am by the way I carry myself daily. And so if we can do that, and I know a lot of you have done that, and lived some long, fruitful lives, and I will continue to pray for the health and safety in our community. But I want to thank you guys for the opportunity that I got at Florida because of what this place became through people like you. And so thank you for the continued efforts that you have for making Florida great, making this town great, because it's literally such a dream come true to be raising 3 daughters in this town. And so to have an opportunity to make more friends today, and I'm blown away by this turnout. So this is awesome. And I don't know many of you. I know that there's one name on here, Kurt Klein, I guess, is a big time financial guy. So I'm not sure if he's sponsoring this today or not, but Kurt, you know, I'm going to give you a little sponsorship shout out here. Maybe he'll put some more money in the pot for the Rotary Club, but appreciate you guys having me. And I would love to answer any questions, but just know this, that we need your help. Whenever people can come back in the stands, we need your help. We need your help for football to happen this year. And how does that happen? Well, we all continue to wear masks. We social distance when we can. We stay safe, because if we can limit in our community the numbers, if we can limit the outbreaks, if we can do what we're supposed to do as a whole, that's going to limit it everywhere. So we all play a part in what happens in this town, because I'll tell you this, we all know that athletics in this town helps the economy far better with everything that goes on in this city. And so like I said, I'll continue to pray for you in the journey that you're on, but please don't ever hesitate to reach out. If there's anything we can do for you, I will put my email in the chat here as well. Tom, I would love to have an opportunity for questions here. I don't know how you guys do questions, if you want to raise your hand or ask one, but would love to ask if there's any questions. Oh, you know what? Here you go. Let me read through some of these first. And yes, I called this a lunch party because the fact that I get to just make like 80 new friends and get to hang out with some different people, this is a party. So thank you. And hopefully no one's sleeping yet. And Tommy Thompson, I appreciate the fact that your wife is joining you and is helping you. Thank you. I don't know if you heard me or not. All right, let's see here. We appreciate that you cleaned up for this meeting. I guess that was that to me, my beard, maybe, I don't know. Cam, you're such an inspiration, not only to your players, but also to each of us. Thank you very much. Great talk. We're so lucky to have you. Thank you so much. How are your girls finding these tough times? Are you finding their mental health suffering? The great thing that's happened through this entire pandemic is that our counseling services have been provided through our athletic department. So we've had some players that were home. And as you can imagine, some of these young ladies don't come from the best environments. And this is for a number of athletes on our campus. So some of them love the support and the stability and the structure they have when they're here. And so for them to be away for 4.5, 5 months was really hard. And so some of them still connected with counselors. We were very diligent with Zooming twice a week with our team. And what was really interesting about our Zoom with our team is we've got a young lady in Australia, Brazil, the Netherlands, Vancouver, and then all over America. So we would Zoom at 6 o'clock at night. And at 6 o'clock at night, it was 9 a.m. for Christina in Australia the next day. But we were very diligent about connecting with our Zooms and trying to engage our players. And sometimes these meetings didn't have any agendas. We just wanted to see each other and hear, like, all right, what anxieties are you having? What stresses are you having? How are you? What's something that you've been blessed with that you might not have realized? And so it was a very open and organic style meetings. And then we did some team building things where we tried to share deeper things, and we tried to have some challenging meetings. We also had some individual meetings where we would watch film. But I think if it weren't for those 2 Zooms weekly connecting and just listening to each other. And the other thing we did is when the social injustice stuff really started to get bad, we listened to our players. We told our players that we are here for you, and I want to stand beside you and support you on what you want to do. And some of them shared some moments that they've experienced that were very hurtful for me. And it's been an eye-opening 5-6 months for me, but I think I've got to hear their hearts more and gain a better understanding of who some of our players are and what they're trying to become. And so we've just tried to be present for them whenever they can. And we would connect on FaceTime meetings individually as well. And so just trying to continue that right now, because we've got a lot of players that have some anxiety, which might be similar to you all. And that is thousands of students coming back in the couple weeks. Thousands and thousands of students at Santa Fe and Florida coming back. And so that creates anxiety, because now, are these students going to do the right thing? Are they going to social distance appropriately? Are they going to quarantine appropriately? And, you know, we have to pray and be the best model to show them how to do that. And hopefully they will. And so that's created some anxiety as well. And we just try to talk through them with that. And we try to protect ourselves to be as safe as possible. So that's some things we've done.
Cam, I'm back on with you now. Nothing more frustrating to a broadcaster than have his mic muted and no control over it. So Don Bugos is out in the crowd here at the Wyndham Garden Hotel. So if anyone here would like to ask a question of Cam, please raise your hand and he will bring the microphone to you so you can ask that directly to Cam. For the others who are online, as Cam was reading off the chat, you can type those into the chat and we will address those to Cam so he can answer the questions that way. And while we wait for someone in the crowd, I'll ask you this question, Cam. You're the 10th coach at the University of Florida, but the first male to lead the program. What are the unique experiences that you have to, you weaved your way through as being a man on a woman's team? And you are the first, as I said, the first male to coach the women's team here at UF.
Well, I'll tell you this, my first 6 years were on the men's side, and the last 14 have been coaching women. And I thank God for the transition I made, because I've become a better husband and a better father for sure. Because ladies, I learned how to listen. I'm still not great at it. But I think I'm becoming a better listener. And men, you have to understand that we are stubborn as hell and that we need to do a better job listening before we speak. And so that's one thing I've learned, and I constantly am trying to be better at. And another thing I learned is that, you know, I think men, if you ask men and women, do you want to be loved or respected first? Most men are going to say respected. Most women are probably going to say they want to be loved first. And they're both okay, but you need to understand that for me, I needed to understand that in order to really effectively reach our players. And so it's just a constant battle of my male ego and wanting to give answers first, to stopping myself and listening first and hearing them in order to be able to help them effectively. But also, you know, I've really taken upon myself, because what I've learned from being a father is I see what my children need from me. And we have a 2-parent household and we're blessed with resources. And I see what my daughters need from me as who I am as a father, and how I love them and show them who I am. And it's taught me of what I need to be for our players as a father figure and as a man and as an appropriate male in our society. Because as we all know, there's some males in our society that don't uphold their end of who they're supposed to be as strong, loving, caring men with how they carry themselves. And so that's a constant challenge. And I know that gives me a greater purpose with what I do. And the other thing that's really been amazing for me is my wife, Sarah, brings our daughters to a lot of our games and a lot of our practices. It's amazing to see how our players are role models for my daughters. And it's so cool to see the strength that my daughters see through who our players become as individuals, and how it gives them confidence on who they can be. And it's just this trickle down effect. And I never really truly understood modeling behavior until the last couple of years, and really seeing the impact that I have with how I carry myself. And it sounds ridiculous to say that, but no one had ever really talked to me or told me about that. And so that's one thing I really try to pride myself on each day, is being a male around these ladies, and showing them what, you know, my love for my wife looks like, for my daughters, because I want them to have the best in their relationships, but also I want them to understand that they can come to me and, you know, criticize me and have tough conversations, because if they can do that with me as a male that's their coach and that loves them, then they'll be able to stand up for themselves as females in their jobs and in their relationships as they get older, because that's something that women need to learn how to continue to do, to be stronger and have that voice. And that's important to do. And that's why I tell our players that, hey, I'm going to support you and stand next to you, with the social injustice and with a lot of these things, because that teaches them how to have a voice and how to stand up for what they believe in and who they're trying to become and what dreams they want to chase and live.
Or if
Sorry.
you're here at the Wyndham Garden Hotel, if you have a question, please raise your hand. And looks like Don has our first taker from the crowd for you, Cam. Please give us your name for Cam and then your question. Thank you.
My name is Helen Gilstrom. Can you tell us how has your recruiting changed with COVID? Is it more fun, easier?
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate that. That's a great question. So we learned how to recruit like this via Zoom. But one thing we noticed before we started Zooming was a lot of the schools would Zoom. And so our staff did a great job of saying, we do not want this to feel like school. So how can we create a Zoom that effectively engages with them and is fun? So we came up with family feud games. We came up with trivia games. We came up with ways to Zoom where we just didn't sit there and talk like I did to you today. It was a lot more connecting. And what we would do is we would set a timer and tell them that when this 30 minutes is up, we're getting off, because we would also hear where coaches would keep recruits on Zooms for an hour and they would like fall asleep. And one thing we did was we had a Prezi, and they would get to see, we would share our screen and they would get to tell us what they wanted to see. And we would show them graphics and videos of Florida, of Jordan Brand, of the Gatorade, of the facilities. And so now all of a sudden it was a way to engage with them that was completely unique and different. And I kept the beard on, I had my hair, and I just like, look, hey, this is who I am. We want to have fun and be laid back today, but we want to educate you on Florida. And so what we had to do was continuously be revamping, how do you engage with 14 to 18-year-old girls? And so we had to be creative, because as you know, sometimes these Zooms get stagnant and people get bored with it. And so we tried to find ways to just be creative and make it fun and engaging to where now they wanted to Zoom with us again. And so little by little, we would add educational points on them about Florida. And we're still in that mode right now. You know, we still can't go off campus recruiting. So in July, when I mentioned I'm normally gone about 16 days recruiting, now what happens is we watch games streamed online. So I have watched more games on my computer through the weekends and games that we've recorded on the computer. And that's how we have to evaluate players right now, is through watching film, which is hard to do when you're not there in person. But luckily, we've done a great job with some commitments. And also with our next class, we've seen a lot of them. So we know who the players are we're really targeting. But we're still trying to continue to be creative with what's next, to think ahead on how we can engage and get these players excited about Florida.
Follow up on that question from Helen, Cam. How has your closing ratio been when you've been on Zoom meetings with the wild hair and wild beard look?
The best part about this, seriously, more recruits would tell us that they loved my beard and hair, and my staff hated it because they wanted me to cut it. So they just kept saying like that. I had one mother tell me, we showed this one mother a picture of me before, and she's like, you look like you're 15. She said, I think the beard and the hair make you look wiser and more mature, so I think you should keep it. But at the end of the day, happy wife, happy life. My wife didn't like it, so I had to trim it up. And I feel like now I kind of look like a European soccer player, you know, maybe. But I kind of like it, little comb over.
I don't know. You look like Ryan Seacrest to me.
Wow. That's yeah. Wow, I don't know.
What's it been like recruiting? You were at Belmont. Now you're in the toughest, arguably the toughest women's basketball conference in the country. How tough has that been, that transition?
Well, it's tough because at Belmont, we wanted a very specific type of player. And you had this many schools that wanted this many players. Because at that level, you don't have to get the best of the best. You could make it work with a bunch of average players and a couple great ones, and that's what we did. Well, now when you get to this level, there's about this many great players, and there's about 70 schools that want them, all your big schools. And so you have to understand that now you got to really be creative and engage in different ways to separate yourself, because here's the thing. We don't have a national championship. We don't have great basketball tradition. And oftentimes a lot of these young ladies want to go to programs that are really good and that are established. And so we're finding ways to get players like Lavender Briggs, our freshman last year from Salt Lake City, Utah, who averaged 16 points and 7 rebounds as a freshman, shot 40% from 2, 33% from 3 as a freshman, one of the best freshmen in the nation. And she came to Florida because she said, she had a quote in a Salt Lake City, Utah paper that said, I want to be part of telling the story as to how Florida women's basketball became great. And my vision of finding people that want to do something greater than themselves that's never been done is how we got her. Because she didn't care about going to an established program. She wanted to come build something special that's never been done. And that's how we're getting some of these players. Last year, we got the number 20 player in America, Jordan Merritt, who's here on campus now. And we continue to get better and better players that fit us, and also international players. And so that brand, you know, the great thing is that everybody knows about Florida because of Disney and the weather. And now when they learn about us educationally and the brand, and they see the resources and facilities, that helps. But we still are not able just to go in and get the best of the best every day, because there's a lot of the best programs that want them as well. But we're continually to chase what I call home runs, because if you don't have hopes and dreams for the big time, then what are you aiming for? And so we're trying to hit home runs every day and just do our best. And if we get enough of those here or there, great things are going to continue to happen like they've begun already.
And Florida's become a special place because of great leadership with Jeremy Foley, now with Scott Strickland. Surrounding yourself with the best. He's hired, and so has Scott and you and others, great coaches. What's been your interaction with the other coaches, Becky, Mike Holloway, Kevin O'Sullivan, Dan Mullen, and Mary Wise, who is now entering her 30th year here?
I mean, Tim Walton called me right as workout started today. I played golf with Roland Thornquist, 4-time national champion women's tennis coach here. I mean, Mary Wise been here 30 years, won the conference 24 times. I've been amazed at how unselfish they are to help me build our program. I've been amazed at the success they have and how giving back they are to someone like me, with their time, with their energies, and just their wisdom. And so that shows me how other people poured into them. And so I'm just grateful for that opportunity to be around such amazing people. I mean, Mouse Holloway, our track coach, he's the Olympic track and field head coach for the Olympics that got pushed back to next summer. I mean, that's amazing. You know, Coach Mullen, all these coaches here, our administration is amazing. They do all they can to give us the best support, the best resources, and best facilities that we can have. And then from an academic standpoint, you know, we've got the largest student athlete academic facility in the country. The mentors we have over there, the learning specialists, the tutors are amazing. And, you know, so any of you that do give to the athletic department, I can just tell you your money is so generously appreciated. And thank you so much for that. And we had some great news about a month ago. We had some donors endow the first ever women's basketball scholarship here at Florida to our program. So that was really great thing to see happen. And, you know, it takes time. You hear it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to raise a program to be a winning standard, you know, to get to the Gator standard. And that's what we're doing. And that's why I got no problem coming on this today with you guys and trying to, you know, just meet you, hopefully impact you some way positively. And I just want to let you know, I've got more jokes if anybody wants to hear another one.
You might want to share some of those with Pete, because he tells a joke every time before he sings a song. We have time for a couple more questions. The first one is from online, from Joe Kim Nordquist. Great first name, by the way, there, Joe Kim.
When I saw Nordquist, I thought it was Joe Kim Noah. I was like, what?
Yeah, Joe Kim Noah's on with it. Can you win a championship with the right good, not great players?
I think so. I mean, you have to have probably a couple great ones in there, and we've got a couple great ones. And I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, oftentimes, you know, Tim Walton, okay? Tim Walton called me this morning. One thing I will never forget Tim Walton telling me, Tim Walton's best recruiting class he ever had here was one of the worst performing teams. His championship teams have been some of the lowest rated recruiting classes he's ever had. That right there proves it. So much of it comes into the makeup of your team and the culture and the unselfishness and the camaraderie. That wins games, and that can win you championships. Sometimes too many egos with only one basketball, it doesn't work. You've got to have people that play their roles. And if people play their roles and buy into something greater than themselves, it can happen.
And our final question today comes from Jenny Van Hart. Coach Cam, can you host a Family Feud game with our club?
I mean, why not? Problem is, how would we split it into enough teams? or like two. That would be kind of hard, but we could figure something out. Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause, both virtually and in person, for Coach Cam Newbauer.
Thank you, Coach Cam. We know you are a blessing to the university and to Gainesville, and you are a blessing to me. And thank you for being here today and sharing. And as you noted, many of the comments were just commenting on how positive and uplifting message you brought today, and we appreciate that very much. This year, Rotary is the theme. Rotary opens opportunities, and we believe Rotary does. And we believe that the University of Florida opened opportunity for you, thankfully. And we know that you open many opportunities for student athletes already and for many years to come. So I would like to send this coin. I get this whole mixed up. I'm looking at him on the big screen. I should be looking straight ahead, but we'll send you this coin. It's not a lot, but maybe you will remember this time here with us today, and not only Rotary open opportunities, but that you can open opportunities for many student athletes to come at the University of Florida, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, but by the way, that beach scene is the same beach the past president before me, Chad King, was at every week. So y'all, at some point, somebody please enlighten me where that beach is. So before we close out today, I want to end with a quote. I also want to say to Coach Cam, excuse me, I got notes everywhere. So you set a record for my year here. We were at 91 live, 40 live, 51 Zoom, 91. So you helped me set a record today. So add that to your resume. Thank you. And thank you for everybody that's here. Everybody that's here in person, in Zoom. Feel free, if you have feedback, send it to me. I mean, we're a work in process. We're trying to figure this out and do good. And with that, send me any positive or constructive feedback so that we can continue to make sure everybody is heard and taken care of in the days ahead. So a quote today from a man that would have celebrated his 42nd birthday yesterday. The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they do. Kobe Bryant. You all have a great week. Thank you for being here. See you next week.